Hey, this is Henry Penix, the business fighter. I've got a special guest today who I have learned about extensively. I've read a bunch of things on. Um, he should be 150 years old by the things that he's done, but he doesn't look a day over 30. So I don't know where he really is on that scale. We're going to find out today and everything that he's involved with and what he's up to. Please help me in welcoming the none other Evan Carmichael. Evan, thank you so much for taking your time today.
Thanks for the love, Henry. I'm 39, but
Okay.
appreciate. I'll take it. That's amazing.
When I was reading on your site a little bit, I read entrepreneur, rebel, creator, faith, hustler, fighter, challenger, dreamer, influencer, freedom thinker, chaser, helper, rich, leader, renovator, boss, fearless, artist, wanderer, explorer, trillionaire, prayer, investor, giver, lover, and then human. And human is in a different color. And that meant so much to me when I read that. As I was telling you earlier, it resonated on so many levels with me. And then I read the guys that you've hung out with, either interviewed or interviewed by, Gary Vee, those guys, TD Jakes, who I could talk for 5 days about him. Met him a couple of times. We probably have some common friends, but all in that realm. I know we're gonna drop some golden nuggets on my audience today, which I always promise them in all of my podcasts that I think are going to be amazing. The hardest part is to figure out where to start because of your extensive background, because of, I've been around the block a couple times as well. But the thing that stood out to me probably more than anything was your faith and the faith you have to accomplish things. And you don't always know the end of the road or what the end result's going to be necessarily, but you're never afraid to step out in faith. And if you don't mind, just to start out, and I don't know where this will take us, but if you don't mind, I'd love to maybe learn to tell my audience, I'm sure most people know about you already, but maybe just briefly kind of how you came up. And then I'd like to kind of land on the faith that it took you to take the next step and the next step and the next step, no matter how big you got.
Yeah. So I guess long story short, I struggled a lot as an entrepreneur. My first business, I was 19, was making $300 a month, owned 30% of a startup, and we weren't having success. I turned down huge jobs to do this thing, thinking this is going to be my mark. And it was very, very far off from what I thought was going to happen. I quit on my business partner. That was the worst day of my life. I woke up the next day and said, I can't quit because I haven't given everything that I've gotten. So I need to just give it a couple more days and just see what happens. Because I knew I'd regret it if I gave up too soon.
Sure.
We turned the business around, eventually sold it. I went into venture capital. And then as I struggled to find what my next thing was, I realized that your purpose comes from your pain, that the thing that you struggled the most with is the thing you want to help other people with. And that took me down this journey of helping entrepreneurs because I struggled a lot as an entrepreneur and I want to make it a little bit easier for other entrepreneurs not to struggle as much as I did. Get into faith. I start with one, humans are good. I think people are good. I think if we weren't good, we'd all be dead by now. We've had the tools for many years. We're good. It doesn't mean we don't do stupid things. We don't do desperate things. I couldn't guarantee that if I was homeless and hungry that I wouldn't steal a banana from the street corner.
Sure.
I couldn't guarantee that. So I think humans are good. Next, I believe that humans are built to serve. I think that some people want to serve the world. You and I want to serve a lot of people. That's why we create content and shows like this.
Yep.
But other people, they may not have a big mission, but they still want to serve. They just want to serve the 25 closest people to them. Friends, immediate family, that kind of thing. But if you're not happy, it's because you're not serving. And so that can cause some nice reflection. Like if people watching or listening are in an unhappy spot right now, will think, well, when was the last time you helped somebody else out? Because helping people, serving others hits the same spot in your brain as food and sex. So, food and sex are pretty important. So is helping people.
And not in that order.
Right? So like,
wow.
If you haven't eaten for a day, you feel it. But if you haven't served for a day, you're also feeling it. You just don't understand why you feel so down. Yeah. That's why.
So you're saying the mind actually receives serving others as it receives the pleasure you get out of food and sex. Dive into that a little bit more, because if somebody's in kind of a funk today and they don't know why, maybe that's why. I mean, and they don't even know it.
Yeah. Listen, if you are feeling unhappy, just go help somebody. Even a small act of kindness, like go to Starbucks and buy the coffee for the person behind you. Open the door for somebody. Call your mom and say you love her. Like anything. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Email Henry and say you love his show. I mean,
Right.
It's great.
All million of you.
But that's the thing. It doesn't have to be a giant act of service. People think it has to be this big thing that they have to do. Right. No, just helping another human.
Right.
We're wired to help each other. It makes you feel good.
I've gotten some of my greatest gratifications from, and I want this to come off right, because you have to read every situation, but tipping poor waiters or waitresses, not poor financially. They may have been, I don't know, but maybe poor service where they had other things on their mind and they were having a horrible day. And your instinct is to not leave them a tip. But I've been in situations, Evan, that I've been like, I've had this thing on the inside of me saying, tip triple what you would, and sometimes lay $100 bill out there for a $30, $40 meal. And when I feel that on the inside, I do. And the thing that it releases in me, even though some people $100 changes somebody's life, some people it's $10, some people it's just a compliment. So it's not the size of the gift. I totally agree with you. But sometimes when I've done that myself, I have instantly began feeling so much better. And my brain didn't figure it out. Like, why did that really happen? But that's why. What you're saying is.
Yeah, it makes you feel good. And so most people aren't doing that enough. Why? Because we're afraid of judgment, because we fear other people and how they see us. We don't want to look bad in front of somebody else. So this is the conflict that most of the America at least is facing, is that you want to serve and you want to help other people. And at the same time, you're afraid of how you're going to be seen and judged. And so you end up playing small. You have your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time, doing nothing, knowing that you're capable of more.
Wow. That's an entire podcast right there. I know you know that, but oh my God, having your foot on the brake and the gas at the same time, your engine's revving, but you can't go.
Yeah. And you feel it. Most people feel like they're capable of doing more than they're currently doing right now. Most people, if I say you want to help others, that makes sense. It feels right, but they don't know how to do it. And they're worried about the judgments and opinions of other people. And so they don't. And so they live life unhappy. That's most people.
How did that help you? And going just to kind of reiterate a little bit, this is Henry, the business fighter. We've got Evan Carmichael on. Going from 19, 20, 21, and you sold the business, then you got into venture capital. Like, maybe people skip by that pretty fast, and I know you did, but you had to sell it for a significant amount. There had to be significant achievement. And then you go from there wanting to help entrepreneurs. And I see you with guys like Anthony Robbins. I mean, these are like, you can't get any bigger than that. And you're the guy they're talking about. Like, what in that faith and coming, resisting fear, not having your foot on the brake and the gas at the same time. Take me through how that led you from where you came from to where you are now. If you don't mind, give me just like one or two big instances where you were scared as heck to do something, but you did it and it made a difference in your life.
Sure. So, I mean, talking about,
I know there's many.
yeah. But I mean, but as it should be for everybody. I mean, I want to dive into the thing that makes me afraid. I've got a test I call it the boom, boom test, which when your heart's going boom, 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 that means it's go time.
Oh my gosh, that's good.
That means you have to do it. That's a signal, right? Or language one is scary, difficult, or hard. If I say scary, difficult, or hard, it means I have to do it just because, to teach, because otherwise you're teaching yourself that you suck. Right. That's the message. Like, if you catch this, I'm afraid to do this, so I won't. I suck.
Wow, that's
where most of the time you won't even catch it. Most of the time you'll feel it, but you won't actually catch yourself. Right. So I think we play small by default. But when you catch it, then I have to do it just because, even if it's not expression, just because, to teach myself that I do scary things, because your self-confidence, your self-love comes from doing difficult things. So Tony was a great one, where of all the people that I've interviewed on my channel, he was the one that I was the most scared of, just because of I've read his books from like, it was the first nonfiction book I ever read was Unlimited Power. And I've followed all his work, and I've been working with his team, and like all, you know, it meant a lot.
Right.
And so we finally had this date where we're going to do the interview, and he had his book coming out, and I'm like triple checking my internet connection and my speed, and like, how's my lighting, and practicing how am I going to introduce him? Do I even introduce him? He's Tony Robbins. Like, what do I?
These are the same things I was feeling when I was introducing you, by the way.
Yeah, but this is great. This is how you level up, right? So all of these things, and so the 2 hours before my interview, I was just a wreck. I was just pacing, practicing, and like I forgot something, and how do I asking my friends, what question should I ask? All of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, and Tony's, you know, at the end of the day, he's such a pro. You could ask him about anything and he'll give you a great answer. So we had a great, half-hour interview. And then talking about like, how does it then change my life? Well, one, it made me feel great about myself for trying, in that I could have said, oh, I'm not ready, or I'm not going to outreach and ask him and all this stuff and tell myself I suck. Yep. So one, I feel great that I did it. But then at the end of the interview, he's like, offline, he said, Evan, I really thank you for the fun interview. I'm doing an Unleash the Power Within next month, and I want you to come if you're free as my guest, and we'll sit you right in the front row, and then we'll meet backstage and do some stuff backstage.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
So he just threw that out there after our interview, right? So it's like, I wasn't going to go to New York, but I am now, right? I'm coming now. Right? Dude. So, and then that's led to other things that we've done. You know, his team is fantastic. He's fantastic. All because I took, you know, the leap. But even if it didn't work out, even if I didn't get that experience, just saying yes and trying, like, even if I like tying my self-worth to the effort, not the results. So even if I get Tony Robbins on and then all I do is vomit into the microphone, you know, like, wow, and I pass out, you know, I'm proud of myself because I tried.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Because I tried, right?
Yeah.
I tried. It's the effort that matters more. Because if you tie your self-worth to the results, then you'll only do things that you know you're going to get a result at. Therefore, you play small for life.
Right. Wow.
If you tie your self-worth to the effort, most days you're going to wake up and fail, but you're going to accomplish way more than the guy who's only going to do things he knows that he's good at.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
So that's why if I vomited all over the camera when I have Tony Robbins on my show, I'm pumped. Like I'm afterwards saying, man, I did a great job. Yeah, I nailed it. Like
I vomited better than anybody.
I nailed the effort, right? Like that's max effort.
No, dude, I love you saying that, because so many people do that. I know you've probably heard stories about the human mind and brain over, you know, millions, billions of years, whatever your belief is, that we've evolved into people that protect ourselves and survive. And every decision we make, it's like, you know, being in a cave or hiding out and you've got danger coming and your first instinct is to hide and be afraid. You get the boom, boom in your heart and you go find a cave or a tree or a hole to dig in. But you're saying the opposite. You're saying that some of the greatest successes in your life has come from when you've heard your heart go boom, boom, boom. Then you've conditioned your mind not to go run and hide from danger or to survive, but to actually go out and do it. That the boom, boom in your heart means you have to do it now.
Yeah, and let me throw the caveat in there, because most of the things that you're boom, boom afraid of are not actually life-threatening.
Okay.
There's no tiger chasing you down.
Got it.
And I'm not suggesting, oh, I'm afraid to jump out of an airplane with no parachute, right? Like, don't do that. Right. That's stupid.
Yeah, as a disclaimer, don't do that.
Yeah, Evan told me. Okay, like let's not be stupid. But especially when it's judgment of other people, like you're worried about other people's judgment or opinions or what they're going to say about you.
Right.
That's mostly at the core of what we're afraid of.
Right.
And so talk about faith. The faith becomes, I know my intention is good. I know I'm here to serve. My intention is good. If I'm nervous to get on your show, right, I'm going to talk to Henry. I don't know what questions he's going to ask. I don't know where it's going to go. But you know what? My intention is good. Maybe I piss him off and I say the wrong thing and like he spreads hate for me, but my intention is good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have faith in that, and that'll let me go do the thing. So especially when it's other people's judgment, which is 98% of the reasons why most people aren't taking action.
Right.
Then you have to do it.
And that's in Sales 101. Back in my earlier career, I worked for a Fortune 150 corporation, and I was ranked in the top 2%, yada, yada, yada. Because I didn't have a fear of people so much. Now, I didn't start that way. Like first, I was so afraid. I don't know if you remember Zig Ziglar, but I traveled with some of those guys. And my first formal speaking engagement was following him in Hawaii. We had about 7,000 people in the audience. And when you said, I just feel like throwing up, dude, when I was speaking right after Zig Ziglar, who basically said everything anybody needs to say, like after he stopped, you don't need to hear anything else, like especially from me, because I had just started out and all that. But when I stood up, I promise you, Evan, I was telling myself, the internal dialogue I was going through was don't throw up, don't throw up, literally. And then it went to don't pass out, because I started feeling like a little woozy. Dude, I'm just being honest. And to this day, I don't remember what I said, but it was good enough. I think the audience clapped just as kind of a favor to Zig Ziglar, because he allowed me to, come speak after him. But if I hadn't have done that, dude, I would have been so regretful right now. And the doors that have opened, which again, we've got 100 podcasts in our conversation right now, so I'm not going to go way down that path. But the hundreds of doors that opened for me just by doing that, I couldn't even list them all. But like you said, even if they didn't, for me to stand up and say that I did it, if nothing happened, I would have been the happiest person on earth to follow him and just not pass out. I mean, that was literally my goal. So,
do you know Brendan Burchard and Dean Graziosi?
I know Dean Graziosi, not Brendan.
Brendan Burchard. Okay, so they're partners in an event, and Brendan is a top speaker. I just came from their event last weekend in Phoenix, and I was a special guest instructor. So these people in the audience all have spent 5 figures with Dean and Brendan, at least some 6 figures. And so it's like their hardcore customer base, right? And so he's got like 1,500 people in the room, and so Dean is speaking, and then I'm next, right? They get to follow Dean. Awesome. And then Brendan is backstage, and he's doing an interview. He's like, Ivan, I'm going to do an interview, but I'm going to be back before you go on stage because I want to watch you speak. Like, great.
Oh, no pressure.
I want to watch every second. Awesome. I'm already nervous enough. Now I got to be introduced. I got to follow Dean Graziosi, and then I got Brendan backstage watching all my stuff, right?
You're talking to his top people who've spent, hundreds of thousands or millions with this guy.
And so like the 20 minutes leading up to it, I'm having like palpitations and panic attacks and all this stuff. But then the faith comes back in. It's like, I'm here to serve. I'm here for a reason. I have knowledge that Dean and Brendan don't have. They brought me here to talk about it. So I'm going to get off and I'm going to do my best, and I'm here to serve them. And even if I fail or fall or throw up or whatever, we'll make it happen. And then that like flipped my mind. And I love doing scary things. So let's go.
Oh man, this is so rich that I've my cup's already been filled, Evan, already. I promise you, and I just don't say that. I love talking with you, and we've never met before, and it's like we've known each other, and I love when that happens. So my father was a pastor, and something that got me over my stage fright, so to speak. And you never fully get over it. I mean, if you don't have butterflies, like something's wrong. I think you'll always have that little twinge and all that. But the thing that got to me, there's a verse in the Bible, and it basically says, perfect love cast out all fear. And if I go into a speaking engagement, or I want to meet a new customer, or tell somebody about a new deal, or pitch a deal for financing, whatever, if I check myself first and my heart's right, and I know it's right, and the love that comes from me that wants to make the best deal that I can for everybody involved, or communicate the best ideas, when I start from that basis, and I think that's what you're saying, when I start from that basis, fear begins to diminish. And no matter how afraid I've been on speaking engagements, even the one with Zig Ziglar, it's like it's that first 10 seconds for me. It's like once I get past that 10 seconds and I hear a little reaction from a crowd, or somebody gives me a little feedback, like you and I, when we started talking, like the first 10 seconds, I'm like, yeah, it's going to be okay. But getting up to that, it's where most people stop, and you never experience the other side of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you like, you could have canceled last minute or whatever, but then you would have hated yourself.
No,
Right.
dude, I absolutely no.
But that's what a lot of people do, right? Like they cancel last minute or they don't show up or they're
Most people
nervous.
do.
Yeah. And then they hate themselves because what if I don't want to live in the land of what if, right? So,
Oh,
I'd rather know and fail than not know. I love that one. The two from the Bible that I love, the one where, if you've been given much, then much is required
much is
of you.
required. Yes.
And then the second part, I don't fully remember the second part, but it's like, if you've been given even more, then even more is demanded.
Yeah.
And depending on the translation, required, demanded. I love that. It's like, it's demanded. Have you been given a lot? Like, Henry, you've been given a lot. Do you have a rich life? Like, yes. Then much is demanded of you. Like, you have to go out.
Yes.
You have to.
Yes.
You're required to, right? This isn't an option, right? So I love that one. Just
Evan,
like
preach.
Yeah. And then the other one from Thessalonians is just not to quench the spirit. And so,
yes.
Ideas come to you for a reason. Stop judging the ideas. Ideas flow through you. By you judging the idea and not taking action, you're quenching the spirit.
So rich.
It may not make sense, this idea that came to you. Like maybe it's never been done before. Maybe somebody in your family hasn't done it, or maybe nobody who looks like you has done it before. Great. The idea came. You have to do something about it. Otherwise, you're quenching the spirit.
It's your responsibility and it's demanded of you. And it wouldn't have come to you if you didn't have what it took to get it done.
Right?
Evan. Okay, we are gonna do this again, and we're gonna start from right there. I promised 20 minutes, so I want to stay true to my word. Just in closing, two last things, please. Okay. And again, thank you so much for being here with me. I want you to tell me the bag of Doritos, why it's there by your side. I read why. I know. I think it's going to help people. And when you're finished, please let people know how they get a hold of you and the next big thing you have coming up.
Well, quickly, like just look up Evan Carmichael. You can find me if you want the books, Amazon, YouTube, all that stuff.
Okay.
The next thing I'm working on is my book called Built to Serve.
Oh, nice.
A lot of what we've talked about today is basically now taking people through the process of how to do it. I think everybody knows that they're capable of more, but they're not sure how to do it. And so that's the point of this book. So that drops in early 2020. Wonderful. Bag of Doritos. Is this a video episode?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I've got this. This doesn't look like it's that big, but if I actually bring it like next to my face, this is
it is.
Giant,
it's a super size.
Yeah. I've got this crazy like fish anyway.
Yeah.
So this is because I have a strategy called Damn the Doritos, where I think when people are healthy or trying to get on a healthy diet, they get rid of all the junk food and crap from their house, which is great. I see that as a crutch. When you break your leg, you're on crutches for a bit. You're in a cast, but your goal is to walk. Your goal isn't to have crutches for the rest of your life, right? It's a means to an end.
Right.
So step one is get rid of the junk food. But then what happens when you go on vacation, when you have an office party, anything, you're not in your perfect bubble, what happens is you destroy all the food.
Right.
So I want to bring it back into my life because damn the Doritos. So I want to eat this all, like my mouth is watering right now. I'm just looking at this bag, right? All I want to do is eat that bag. But it's a reminder of how strong I am. Because now if I go on vacation or whatever, it's like I have control. Like I have the hardest thing in front of me right now.
Wow.
Just before this interview, I was on another one, and a woman was saying, "I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring these cookies that I really want to eat and put them in front of me." I said, "I wouldn't just put them in front of me. I would take the cookies, bring them right up to my nose, and like bring it in, like close my eyes." Enjoy the smell, like drool all over myself, and then put the cookies down and get to work and feel amazing, right? Like the conversation in my head is, I am amazing. I just did that because your self-love comes from doing difficult things.
Right.
So now maybe that's a little too weird, Doc, or, for people who are listening, but that's the idea behind the Damn the Doritos strategy, and why I always have a giant bag of Doritos next to me is to remind me that I'm stronger than the Doritos, because damn the Doritos. And
you had, and I'll end this up here, but you overcome a weight problem at one time.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't massively overweight, but as you get older, people listening, watching, your metabolism slows down.
Right. And damn those Doritos.
Right. Even when I got back, so when I was on my tour, I did a 90-day tour of West Coast US this year, and I broke my neck 2/3 of the way through it.
Oh my God.
I broke my neck in 2
this
spots.
year?
Yeah. I still have the cast like on my, it put me in a neck brace that I had to wear I could take it off for 10 minutes a day to have a shower. But I broke my neck in 2 spots and compressed my spine and had 3 staples in my head and concussion. And so I gained some weight through that process because I couldn't move.
Right.
But I kept going on my tour. Talk about faith. Like I kept going. My agent's like, when are you coming home? Like, I'm not coming home. I still have a month left on my tour.
Oh my God, Evan.
But
Holy
being
crap.
like, this is the point of service, being with entrepreneurs and helping them and doing my mission is healing. What am I going to do at home? Lie on a couch? That's not going to heal me. I need to be doing my thing. Right. And talking about like doing difficult things, the Denver where I broke my neck, I had to cancel that event because I was in the hospital. The next one was Kansas City. And I still had a concussion, and the doctors didn't clear me to do it, but they said, just go as long as you can. So we refunded everybody the ticket who came, but said, hey, I've already booked a hotel. Come on out if you want. We'll hang out for as long as I can go. And my usual event would be 4 hours. And my wife pulled me off after an hour and a half because I was starting to just lose it, right? Like
hallucinate, yeah.
Yeah, like the concussion. I've never had a concussion before.
Oh my gosh.
So she pulled me, but that was the greatest moment of the tour. I've never been pulled off a stage before, but that was my physical, like being proud of your effort. That was my physical max. I had nothing left. I had to be pulled off the stage.
Evan. Wow. Okay, just stop right there. Don't say anything else because you have said it all. Officially said it all. Guys, if you're not psyched right now and enthused and inspired to get out there and do it with a no-quit attitude, you will never be. Do me a favor. Take this video, take this podcast, call 10 of your friends now. Please, please, please tell them there are multiple golden nuggets that a man has just shared for you and to you that came from his heart and came from experience. Follow one of these 10 that he's just shared, and you're going to be successful in so many areas of your life. Follow 2 or 3, and it's going to change your life forever. So, Evan, thank you so much. Again, my gratitude. I can't even say in words how much I appreciate you doing this. This content was some of the richest content that I've heard, and I hope you're blessed and prosperous beyond your wildest imaginations.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me, Henry.
Okay, talk soon.
Take care.